Okay, time for a new video. Welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new. This is yet another Eurovision 2025 related video here on my channel, and as I talk to you now, it is Saturday the 1st of February 2025, and one of the first Super Saturdays of the Eurovision 2025 season. This is of course one day in the Eurovision calendar where there's lots of different Eurovision related events taking place across the continent, whether that's a country actually picking their entry for the upcoming edition of the Eurovision Song Contest, which as we all know will take place in Basel, Switzerland this May, or whether it's a semi-final or heat or something like that. And I thought that I would sit down and talk about the shows that are taking place across Europe tonight and give you my thoughts on what might happen. As always, you're welcome to let me know your thoughts on anything that I discuss in today's video by leaving a comment down below, and as always there are links in the description to my other social media pages. Check them out if you so wish. I've no idea if I will make videos like this moving forwards towards the end of every week regarding various shows that might be taking place over the course of the weekends. I don't know, we'll wait and see. But anyway, tonight there are 6 shows taking place across Europe. They are semi-final 4 of Lithuania's national selection, which begins at 8 p.m. CET, Slovenia's national final EMA, which is also at 8 p.m. CET, the first heat in Sweden's Melfest, which also begins at 8 p.m. CET, and I did make a video about that recently, which you may well have seen. The semi-final of Latvia's Supernova is at 2010 CET, so 10 past 8. The final of Belgium's selection Eurosong is at 8:55 p.m. CET, and the conclusion of Spain's Benidorm Fest gets going at 10 p.m. CET. Now, the hardcore Eurovision fans among us will probably be flitting backwards and forwards between various live streams. That's not me, I've never done that. Don't know why, but I've just never really been somebody who does that sort of thing. Occasionally I might find a live stream. Sometimes they're on the official Eurovision YouTube channel, which is pretty good. And I might watch the votes as they come in. I might do that tonight with Benidorm Fest. I don't really know if I can find a stream of that. And I have done it with Eesti Laul in Estonia before, and indeed Sanremo in Italy. In the early hours of the morning I've watched the results come in before. But I don't usually bother. That's just the way it is. I usually sit here, do other things, think about other things, and when the result pops up on Wikipedia, that's when I know. I'll sort out a post for the joint Instagram page, link in the description as always to that, and then that's it. We move on. But yeah, the hardcore fans, I'm sure, will definitely be invested in many of these events this evening. Anyway, let's take a look at what's happening in a bit more detail. So semi-final 4 of Lithuania's selection. Not that I'm really looking on social media much at all these days, and I'm taking more of a step back than ever before with regards to looking at Eurovision content online anyway, but I've seen barely anybody talk about Lithuania's selection. I don't think any of the songs that we've had so far are really getting a great deal of attention at all. I know some of the tracks were released before Heat 1 of this particular national selection, and I did hear 1 or 2 of them, I think. But anyway, tonight we have Sigga, Ustin, Godo York, Joseph June, Amuralu, Katarsis, Liepa, Mario Younes, and The Ditties. Only 2 go through, and is it public and jury voting? I think so. The actual final of Eurovisia.lt is coming up on February the 15th. I'm taking a look here. It is jury and public voting. In Heat 1, Anyanya won it, topping the jury vote and public vote with Running Out of Time, and I would not be surprised if he wins the whole thing. Juste Baradulinaite also qualified with Tired. And then last week, or rather the week before that, my apologies, we had Petunia and Noi qualify. And then last week, January the 25th, we had Gebrasi and Goya qualify. Black Biceps, who won the public vote very convincingly, did not go through because the jury vote takes precedence, which is very disappointing. Anyway, I don't really know what to expect from this week's show. I'm not really following Lithuania's selection at all, like many people. Joseph June, I think, has been involved before. I think Mario Younes has been involved before. Katarsis are a band, and I know that they're quite popular in Lithuania, I believe. When I was doing my research off camera several weeks ago, I was quite interested in their sound. So I wouldn't be surprised if that song goes through. So keep an eye on Catharsis moving forwards. Next week there will be the fifth and final semi-final, which involves Matt Len, San Francisco, and 2018 representative Ieva. So maybe next week's show is a bit more appealing, I don't really know. Anyway, that's the situation with Lithuania. Not much to say because I'm not really familiar too much with the artists or indeed the tracks involved. Next up, we have the final of Slovenia's EMA, and there hasn't been a semi-final, it's just 12 acts. The show will be co-presented by last year's representative Raven. The lineup is Anna, Sven, Pola Ace, Astrid and the Scandals, Jon Vitezic, Kiki, Eva Pavli, Clemen, July Jones, Jan Videc, Trina, and Rai, or Ray, with Fredericks Dead. It is a thoroughly disappointing batch, and I'm really quite surprised Slovenia brought back a national final in the first place. I think this was announced a long time ago, so it's not much of a shock. The songs were revealed fairly recently, as was the running order. The voting system is absolutely atrocious. It really is very poor. I don't think any Eurovision fan is happy about this. In the first round, various juries cast their votes and select the top two. And then the public have their say on just those two songs in a super final, which is really quite crappy because it's entirely possible the public's favourite could be eliminated in stage one. And then the Slovenian public have a choice between two songs that maybe they don't really care a great deal for. Quite controversial. I can see controversy happening. The favourite is probably July Jones with New Religion. Her real name is Julia Aljaž. She's 26. She has tried to represent Slovenia before with Girls Can Do Anything back in 2022, which I didn't love. This song is better. I'm liking it more. It could be very strong at Eurovision. I have seen a few brief things online about how the EMA songs are going to be presented. I think a lot of people are generally excited about her performance tonight. Not that many people are probably going to be watching EMA because the quality as a whole is thoroughly underwhelming. I think that she would be the strongest choice. I really do. A lot of the songs here sort of blend into one. There is a little bit of diversity, but I'm not blown away by anything. Clemen, who's on right before July Jones, with how much time do we have left? He's a big star, Clemen Schlakonia. He's 39, he's hosted EMA before, he's done lots of parodies of different musicians, a little bit of a comedic figure, I would say. His song is really not that bad. It's a bit cheesy, but it's very heartfelt, and there is a strong message behind it, which I did read about fairly recently. I just don't think it's remotely competitive. If there was a jury vote in the semi-finals still, maybe I'd be saying something different to you right now. But as it's a pure public vote in the semi-finals, I just think that this could be completely brushed aside. Even if the message of the song is really hammered home, I just don't see a lot of people really getting on board with it. And as for July Jones, as fine as her effort is, New Religion, Slovenia are in that tough first semi-final, if I remember correctly. On paper, it's looking like a really tough show. So even she might fall through the net. I just don't know. Anyway, I'd like July Jones to win. I'm fully expecting it to be Clemen. I would not be surprised at all if New Religion is eliminated in the first round. The juries just aren't that keen. That would be a big talking point, and I think Slovenian people would be very peed off about that. Anyway, that's the situation with Slovenia. I don't think they're going to do incredibly well this year, no matter what they send, with all due respect. Heat 1 of Melfest, which I spoke about the other day, so I will be brief here. I don't think the attention is on Sweden at all. It's usually not until the final, but we have Albin Jonsson featuring Par with Uppi Luften, Kamikaze Life by Maja Ivarsson, Voice of the Silent by former representative John Lundvik, Hush Hush by Meira Omar, For Första Gång by Adrian Maceus, and then Känslan by Linnea Henriksson, a former co-presenter of Melfest. Having heard snippets of the songs, and I believe some footage of the performances has been released as well, but I haven't seen them. Usually with Melfest, I do watch each heat a day or two after it's taken place because it's up on the SVT website, so I do usually check it out there. Jon Lundvig is probably winning this heat. Maybe not comfortably, but I expect him to win it. And I did say the other day about Linnea Henriksson maybe going through with him. But I think I'm going to change my mind. I mean, Albin Jonsen featuring Pa, it's a pretty typical party-type number, but I can see that going through as well. So Song 1 and Song 3 directly to the final in Stockholm in March. As for third place, because fourth place doesn't matter anymore, let's not forget that, I think it's probably going to be Kamikaze Life. Maja Ivarsson, quite the performer, quite the vocalist, been around a long time, seasoned performer. So I can see her maybe doing the business. Meira seems to be getting quite a bit of love from those individuals who have spoken about Melfest Online, but I think that might just, unfortunately, just miss out. And then the other songs, I don't mind Den Känslan at all. I liked the quite light-hearted vibe it was giving off, but I just don't think it's competitive enough. It's like the Slovenian contenders. I'm just not sure they're super competitive. And then Adrian, I think, is probably going to finish last. It says here, as in previous years, the 2 qualifiers for the final will be chosen across 2 rounds of voting. There's app voting and the age group voting, NAF, as well, that's going to take place. Anyway, the semi-final of Latvia's Supernova. Well, Latvia's national selection is pretty strong this year. It has to be said. I think they've turned a corner, and it will be interesting to see what happens with them moving forwards. The final is next weekend, February the 8th, so I might talk about that this time next week. We'll wait and see. 19 songs in the semi-final. How many go through? 10, thanks to a combination of votes from a jury and the Latvian public. Well, I thought Chitizeni had this all sewn up until maybe about a week or 2 ago. They're coming back with Ramtai. They were there in Turin in 2022, didn't qualify from the first semi-final. They might still do it. I think it would be a bit disappointing because they've been there and done that. So maybe give somebody else a chance. The song's all right. It's really perfectly fine. My favourite is The Water by Bel Tempo and Legstina. And Legstina, whose real name is Eliza, is half British. I think she's half British. I've spoken about her before on this channel. And anyway, she's great. She's quite a big star. She's had quite a lot of success. But I don't think that really counts for much here because this song is not getting any attention whatsoever. And I'm not sure Latvians are going to go big for it. Maybe the jury will, but I'm not sure the public will. We've got Chris Noah. He's had quite a lot of success in Latvia. We've got a couple of folky sounding songs. But the one to beat now, and to be fair, was a strong contender anyway, is the Ludwig, Song 10 with Ligo. This, to me, sounds like it's got quite a lot of potential. It's quite energetic, I guess. It's certainly got some energy to it. And he's tried to represent Latvia in the past. I think it was quite a few years ago now. It's a really nice track. I would not be mad if Latvia choose it whatsoever. We've also got the 2016 representative Justs coming back. We've also got Marcus Riva trying again, because why the hell not? Toms Kaldorauskis is trying again. There's quite a few familiar names. Really, I think the Ludwig is the one to beat now. I think Chitizeni will be up there. I think maybe Cobra and the other group whose name I can't remember, even though the list is in front of me. Cobra and Tepat, both of those bands, might do quite well. Emilia with Heartbeat, that's pretty good. That sounds as though it's straight out of the sort of DMGP, MGP, Melfest songbook, but it's certainly not a bad effort whatsoever. Everything else I'm not too sure about. And of course, Greta withdrew with Monster, and I think that was in with a pretty strong shot of winning the whole thing. But there we are, that's the situation with Latvia. Then we have Belgium's Eurosong. Well, I think this is a bit of a waste of time, because it seems to me as though there's going to be a very clear winner. And I'm not sure it's going to be the right song. Tonight, 8 artists will vie to represent Belgium. 50% jury voting, 50% televoting. The jury is made up of various music professionals and musicians, not just from Belgium, because I think Emily de Forest is part of the panel as well. The running order was announced a short time ago. I'm just going to load it up here if I can. Yeah, Belgium are top of the betting odds. And I don't really know why, because although this is a fine batch, there's nothing here that's capable of winning Eurovision. I really don't think so. The running order's not actually up in front of me. Is it here? Yes, it is. We have Lise opening the show, followed by Le Manu, that's my favourite, with Fia Papa, Jelle van Dale, which is my friend Peter's favourite. If you want to see our top threes, check out the Instagram page. Song 4 is Mentissa with Désolé, which I think could be absolutely fantastic at Eurovision. Really quite elegant and sophisticated. Will Belgians pick it? I doubt it. Len is song 5, Stephanie is song 6, Red Sebastian is song 7, and Grace is song 8. Red Sebastian is probably going to win this very comfortably. There is quite a bit of hype, I would say, surrounding his song Strobe Lights. To me, it's very loud, a little bit chaotic, and it's the sort of track that I could listen to 5 or 6 times and still not really know how it goes. Which is more of a me problem, I know. And I said this in a previous video, there was this quite remarkable comment that I saw on social media from somebody saying, all this hate Red Sebastian's getting is because Eurofans are homophobic, which is such a terrible take. I mean, just to assume that because some people are not such fans of a particular track, you know, they're against gays. Like, that is a shocking take, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of this track at all. I've got to be honest. I think there's at least 2 or 3 other songs here that I think are actually a bit more competitive and stronger and actually have a bit more potential. But that's just my opinion. If this goes to Eurovision Strobe Lights, so be it. Chances are I'll like it more by the time Eurovision comes around anyway, because that's usually the way things go with Eurovision for me, and maybe you as well. I think Mentissa, I mean, she's a pretty big star, and a lot of people are really enjoying her track. But I just don't think Belgium are going to go for it. I think the juries are going to be blown away by Red Sebastian's vocals, and I think the public are really on board with it as well. But are Belgium winning Eurovision 2025? No chance. Not in my opinion. It actually has the jury panel here. Yes, Emily de Forest, Gustav, and a whole bunch of other people I'm not familiar with. Anyway, that's going to be streamed on YouTube, actually, so I might catch a little bit of it. Then we have Spain, Benidorm Fest. Well, here's the thing. Benidorm Fest came back a few years ago because there was a version of it a long, long time ago. And, of course, we had Chanel win in 2022, even though the Spanish public couldn't give a toss because they wanted Tanchugueiras predominantly. Anyway, she went to the Turin competition and finished 3rd, doing well with the juries, doing well with the public. Since then, Spain just haven't really fared terribly well. Blanca Paloma was last with the public in Liverpool. The result was okay, mid-table, but it should have been a lot higher, in all honesty. It was a very strong performance, I thought, and vocally very impressive. And then last year we had Nebulosa with Thorra, which was fun, but didn't stand much of a chance whatsoever. And this year, the lineup is as follows: Daniela Blasco, Cuvée, Mawot, La Chispa, Melomana, Jay Cabello, Lucas Bunn, and Melody. It's not bad, but if Spain don't get a good result this year, questions have to be raised as to whether Benidorm Fest is really the best way of selecting a Spanish entrant. Because if the results aren't brilliant, something has to change, does it not? Anyway, I've seen some of these performances. Semi-final 2 was quite controversial because De Teresa missed out, which I was really very surprised about. Haven't actually seen her performance yet, but from what I've seen picture-wise, it was all over the damn place, even though it's a perfectly fine song. Looking at the lineup we have, Daniela Blasco, yeah, fairly typical pop song, gets a bit frantic towards the end. She's scantily clad. It's all about the choreography more than the vocals, and that to me is fairly disappointing. It's my friend's favourite. I don't mind it. If it goes to Eurovision, I'm not going to complain. Loca por ti by Cuvée isn't bad at all. I don't think it's winning, but it's not bad. Mawot with Raggio di Sole, the surprise qualifier, no doubt about it. Really quite surprised the juries were on board with it, but there we are. It's okay. I don't mind it, but it's not winning. Artita de Llorar by La Chispa is a great song. I was a bit dismissive of it at first, but I actually think it's a very strong, credible effort. People were criticising the vocals. when she performed a few evenings ago, because everybody suddenly turns into a professional musician on social media. I thought she sounded okay. Room for improvement, yes. The staging, that was all right. Room for improvement, yes. Should this go to Eurovision? Maybe. I think it could do very well in the jury vote at Eurovision, absolutely. Spain don't really have to worry about the semi-finals, do they? So, yeah, if this wins, I think it's a very, very solid choice. But I can also see the score from the public in May being incredibly disappointing. I just don't think neutral viewers will be on board with this at all. They'll think that it's just shouting for 3 minutes. With all due respect, that's what they might think. Song 5, I'm a Queen, not a big fan of this one, but the performance was fairly strong and a lot of people are really enjoying it now. Song 6, VIP. I'm really, really, really surprised this is getting as much love as it is, because to me it's bang average. It's a fairly ordinary song, to me. The performance is pretty good. The song is fine, but I don't think it's the strongest choice here whatsoever. I can actually see that really struggling at Eurovision. He's a fairly charismatic performer, and he sounded all right during his performance in one of the heats recently, but I don't know. I'm not really loving it. So I would be a tad disappointed if Spain go for that, but who knows? I'm not going to kick up a fuss if they do pick him, but I think there's better. Lucas Bunn, yeah, very nice ballad. Very nice ballad. Not much to it. Yeah, very sweet and tender. Don't think it's going to win, but it's a very solid effort. And then we have Melody, who's closing the final. She closed the second semi-final the other day. Essa Diva. This is just a big blast of pop. Is it anything original? No. Is it my favourite? Yes. Would I be happy if this wins? Absolutely. Will it do well at Eurovision? Who knows? We like to think we know, but the reality is that we have no idea how this could be received in May if it gets there. She's obviously a pretty big star. She's been around a long time. She was a child star as well, so she's definitely been in the public eye for a very long time. And the semi-final performance, it was a little bit shaky, but she was really going for it. Bit of choreography, belting the vocals out. It wasn't too over the top, I would say, in terms of the choreo and the staging. It was just a really solid job all around. And people were really, really criticising this on social media. The few comments that I saw, people saying, I'll be happy if anything but Melody wins. It's like, okay, but if you're going to say this song is generic, you can take a look at some of the others and say that they're fairly generic as well. VIP, Radio di Sole, Nana. I mean, they're not exactly groundbreaking songs, are they? Anyway, I'd like Melody to win. I'll be happy with pretty much anything else. Cuvée and Mawot aren't winning. La Chispa, I'm not sure is going to get enough public support from Spaniards. Mel Umana, maybe. Lucas Bunn, I don't think so. Daniela, it's going to have to be really incredible. And then Jay Cabello, he might do it, but there's something about that song that's just leaving me fairly cold. I don't really understand why it's quite so loved. But there we are. It's fine. I'm repeating myself. Is that all there is to say about what's happening this evening across Europe? Yes, there is, and there is going to be a live stream. Fantastic. There is an international jury and a national jury, and it says here the jury lineup features 8 professionals who will collectively contribute 50% of the total scores. 50% public voting, 50% jury voting. The public can vote through SMS voting as well as for free on the RTVE Play app. App voting is free, with viewers able to vote for 1 act per show. So there you go. That's it. This video's turned out to be a lot longer than I wanted it to be, but I think I've covered all bases. Long story short, let's do it again. Lithuania, I have no idea, but I am expecting Catharsis and maybe Joseph June to go through, but I could be wrong. Slovenia, I'm expecting Clement to win, but I would like July Jones. Sweden, I'm expecting John Lundvik and Albin Jonsson featuring Par to go through to the final, and Maja Ivarsson to go through to that strange runoff vote in a couple of weeks' time. In Latvia, I don't know if we get the specific results, but I'm expecting all of the usual suspects to go through. Belgium, Red Sebastian's going to win that, but I am rooting for Le Manu. And then in Spain, I'd like Melody or La Chispa to win. And I think it will be Melody or potentially J Cabello. I think it might be a fairly close result. We'll wait and see. Let me know what you think. Hopefully I haven't been too harsh. And I'll be back with more Eurovision 2025 related content very soon. Until then, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and let's hope the results are what we all hope for. See you soon.